What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're finally getting into the sidearm category, and today we're going to be covering the Core 45. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and with this gun, it's a guaranteed 3-shot kill anywhere in the body in the maximum damage range, and in the second damage range, it's still going to be a very consistent 3-shot kill as long as you're not mixing in multiple leg shots. And then beyond that, it is going to take you 4 to 5 shots to kill. Also, it is worth noting, headshots are effectively useless on this gun. You'll never be able to reduce the number of shots to kill compared to torso shots by including headshots in the mix, so it's just not worth aiming for the head. As for our rate of fire, by default, this is 400 rounds per minute, which is not terrible for a semi-auto in this game. And what this means is with a 3-shot kill, we're killing in 300 milliseconds, which is pretty much like average for an assault rifle up close. And that means it's not terrible by any means, but it's also not great. Most SMGs will be killing you faster in close quarter situations. And it is also worth noting, as you continue to drop off in ranges, our time to kill really skyrockets high, up to 600 milliseconds for a 5-shot kill. Now, the big key attachment slot for the Core 45, though, is the trigger slot, because our triggers can significantly improve our rate of fire and therefore our time to kill. And I'm not going to read out all of these, you guys can see the values for yourselves. I think for many people, that 600 round per minute trigger is going to be just fine. I don't think many people are capable of getting above 600 rounds per minute with their trigger finger too often. And if you are capable of getting to 600 rounds per minute, now our time to kill is 200 milliseconds, which is amazing. In saying that though, for some of us, we are capable of at least sometimes getting over 600 rounds per minute. And therefore, the XRK Lightning trigger can help you there. It's got the time to kill potential at 160 milliseconds, but I doubt there's many people out there that are capable of actually reaching 750 rounds per minute on a consistent basis. Now, let's move on to our range values, and as we can see here, our 3-shot kill potential will extend out to about 10 meters or so not bad actually for a pistol. Then our 4-shot kill range will extend out to 30 meters, which is really good, and anything beyond that, you probably shouldn't be using this pistol anyway, largely due to the fact that our time to kill is really slow, but also our bullet velocity isn't amazing with this at 375 meters per second. Right up close and personal, that won't be a problem, but the moment you start stretching those ranges out, like I said, beyond like 30 meters or so, that's when your bullet velocity is definitely going to start holding you back, and you will notice that the hit detection feels far worse. As for hardcore game modes though, the Core 45 is one of the best guns in the entire game for hardcore modes because it's always a 1-shot kill at any range, anywhere in the body, as long as you're not shooting through some form of cover. Now again, that bullet velocity will be holding you back for those really long range shots, but at that point, you only need 1 shot to kill anyway, so generally it's still just fine in those ranges. Then let's have a look at our hipfire, which is incredible with this gun. Our minimum hipfire spread is just 1.5 degrees per second, which is incredibly tight. And even our maximum hipfire spread while moving is just 5 degrees per second, which is really, really good for this game. After that, let's get into our recoil, and with the standard trigger at 400 rounds per minute, there's basically 0 recoil with this. Yes, it might bounce around a very small amount, but it's essentially negligible, especially, again, within the ranges that you should be using the Core 45. As for our aim down sight time, this is incredibly fast at 150 milliseconds, and our sprint to fire time is also amazing, although it's actually a bit on the slower side for pistols in this game, especially with our tac sprint out time. But in saying that, it's still really, really good and far better than most of the guns that you'll find in this game, so you aren't really punished all that much for sprinting around really aggressively with this. And to top all of that off, our reload add time is very fast with this at just 1.27 seconds. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, without attachments, let's have a look at our mobility stats. And while all of these stats fall a little bit below average for pistols, that's just because we have one big outlier, which is the WSP Stinger that brings that average up. In general, this is pretty standard for a pistol and therefore great. It's excellent for getting around the map quite quickly, and even strafing in a gunfight is quite fast with this at 3.8 meters per second. And there we go, that wraps it up for all of the basics with the Core 45. However, we do have an aftermarket part with this, which is the XRK IPv2 conversion kit. And with this one, it actually converts it to binary fire, which means every time you pull the trigger, the gun will fire, and every time you release the trigger, the gun will fire again. And you're able to spam this very quickly to the point where it looks like full auto, and its rate of fire potential here is 800 rounds per minute. Now, in order to compensate for that significantly higher fire rate potential, all of our damage values are reduced, and it is now going to be a 4 to 6 shot kill rather than a 3 to 5 shot kill. But even with that damage reduction, we still end up with a better time to kill potential compared to the base Core 45. Right up close and personal, we can kill in just 225 milliseconds, which is excellent. And even at those longer ranges where we would normally kill in 600 milliseconds, now we're capable of killing in 375 milliseconds. That is, if you're able to hit your shots, because unlike the base Core 45, we've actually got some recoil here, and it's a fair amount of recoil. If you're really spamming this as fast as possible, it will climb up on you quite quickly, so there's definitely a very notable trade-off in that department. And then finally for this kit, I did want to show how it affects our range values as well, because all of our range values are actually improved with this. So we can see now our 4-shot kill potential is noticeably better than our 3-shot kill potential with the base Core 45. And it's a similar story with that final range drop-off point. Instead of just over 30 meters, now it's just under 40 meters. I should also mention here, we do get a very noticeable bullet velocity improvement up to 525 meters per second, which will also give you some benefits when trying to handle those gunfights in those longer ranges. So in general, not a bad kit at all. I know a lot of people really enjoy this. However, in my opinion, if you have a good trigger finger, while this still may be a fun attachment to use, you're probably going to be better off just using the base Core 45 with one of the faster fire rate triggers. Because with that, not only are you able to get a noticeably better time to kill potential than we're getting here, but you're also able to do so with significantly less recoil. And there we go, that's going to wrap it up for the full breakdown of the Core 45. Now let's get into some excellent attachment combinations. And the first one I wanted to share for you guys is my standard secondary build. I call it my quick draw build. And with this one, we're using the Hermes Mod Suppressor to stay off the radar, as well as we get a bullet velocity boost out of this. We've got the 45 auto high grain ammunition for, again, more of a bullet velocity boost and a range boost as well. We have the XRK lightning fire trigger on this because I am capable of sometimes getting over 600 rounds per minute, and therefore when I use that trigger, I find that it holds me back at least a little bit, so it is nice to have that basically uncapped fire rate because I'll never hit 750. And then on top of that, we've got the 18 round magazine, since we will burn through those pretty quickly, and I like being able to deal with multiple enemies if needed. And then finally, the tactical grip cover, which allows us to take advantage of the fast draw mechanic. And with that pistol fast draw, it allows us to swap from an assault rifle, for instance, in half the amount of time. It now takes only about 250 milliseconds rather than 500 milliseconds to get a shot off after swapping, which is nice to see. Now, when it comes to our recoil, we are seeing more recoil just because there's less time between shots for this to recenter, and also we did hurt our recoil values a little bit with this. Our time to kill potential is 160 milliseconds, but realistically, even with a good trigger finger, we're looking at more around the range of like 190 to 200 milliseconds, which is still incredible. Our aim down sight speed and sprint out time were very slightly slowed down, but not by a large margin. These are still very fast. Our range values are improved by 15%. Our bullet velocity is nicely improved, so that helps us stretch our range out. And then, of course, we've got that suppressor on there, so we're off the radar. And just a quick note on that suppressor, I know if you use the sonic suppressor, it actually gives us a better bullet velocity boost, and it seems like the obvious choice, but if you're not using an optic with that, it actually obstructs your iron sight. So that's why I stuck with the suppressor that I'm using here. So there we go, that's the first one, and this is actually my go-to secondary weapon in this game. It's the one I have on the vast majority of my class setups. However, with my second setup, this one's designed to be used as a primary weapon, not as something you just swap to, but something that you are going to be using all the time. And with this one, we're using the Sonic Suppressor, the XRK Pyre 9 Heavy Long Barrel, the Slimline Pro Optic, so we can use that Sonic Suppressor and see over it properly and it doesn't obstruct our iron sight. We've got a 30 round magazine on this since we're using it as a primary weapon. And then I put on the XRK V21 Heavy Match Trigger, which gives us that rate of fire at 600 rounds per minute, which is more than enough for most people. And it doesn't have as much of a downside as the Lightning Trigger. Now, with this particular setup, we've still got a very accurate gun on our hands. Again, it is less accurate than the base recoil, but that's mainly just due to the faster fire rate. Just like with the previous build, while we did slow down our aim down sight speed and sprint out speed, they're still very fast, not a problem at all. You're still going to be way faster than most of the guns in this game. Our range is now increased by 18%, which is excellent. Our bullet velocity is also not bad at all at 487 meters per second. And just like with the previous build, we are off the radar when firing. This build works great as a primary weapon in core game modes, but especially in hardcore game modes, this is one of the best setups you can make for hardcore game modes out of any gun in the game, not just secondary weapons. And with that, this just leaves us with one last setup I wanted to share for you guys, and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging with that conversion kit with binary fire. So this is the build that I'll use if I am using that conversion kit. So obviously we've got the kit on there. We've got the Comp 905F muzzle, which is going to help a lot with recoil. We have the SL Skeletal Vertical Underbarrel Grip, which helps with vertical recoil and our handling stats a little bit. We have the 30 round magazine because we're going to burn through those fairly quickly. And then finally the granular grip, which will help with recoil as well. And with all of this combined, we've still got a fair amount of recoil here, but it's far less than the base while using this kit. So that's really nice to see. One big thing to keep in mind with this one is our aim down sight time is very noticeably slower than when we're not using this kit. It's 253 milliseconds, which is very slow for a pistol, but it's more along the lines of what you'd see with like a slower SMG or assault rifle. Unfortunately, it's kind of necessary if you want to get really good recoil control with this. Our sprint out time though is still pretty great. Our range values are increased by 30%, which is amazing. And finally, we've got a great bullet velocity for a pistol at 525 meters per second. Now, like I said earlier, for me, with a good trigger finger, I definitely prefer this without the binary fire kit. But in saying that, it's still a very fun kit to use. And if you are somebody that struggles with getting a decent fire rate in semi-auto, definitely give this one a shot. I think you're going to like it quite a bit. And with that, that's going to wrap it up today's gun guide on the Core 45. As for my thoughts on this gun, I love it. It is by far my favorite secondary in this game. You'll find it on the vast majority of my class setups. And honestly, even using it as a primary weapon, I have no issues using it and performing very well. Now, of course, I am a little biased here because I do have a very good trigger finger. It's one of the things that I really like about my gameplay is I'm good with fast-firing semi-autos. And I can understand that you might not like it as much if you don't have the trigger finger, but then again, you've always got that binary fire kit, which I think is great as well and a lot of fun to use. Now, of course, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous gun guides, we've now covered every primary weapon that's currently in the game, at least Modern Warfare 3 weapon. I will leave a link to the playlist down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.